to session number 402 of Morning Journal. Once again, I'm your host, Jared, and I'm glad to have you here with us today. We're going to start today's conversation with a prompt. Right now, I feel. So we always try to start with some sort of noticing, some sort of awareness that will kind of bring us into the present moment. So we want to tune in today to our body, to our emotional state, the sensations that are a part of our current present moment reality. Um, Focus in on those sensations, whether they're physical or mental or emotional. Right now, I feel. So you can use as many words as you would like to say how you feel. We also like to try to quantify it in some way to indicate the intensity of that feeling. So, however it is that you're feeling, you can put it on a scale of 1 to 10 to say the degree to which that feeling is uh, showing up for you. So, right now, I feel is our opening prompt. And over on Instagram, we have a response. I feel uneasy. I feel uneasy about at about a 6. So it's peaking over sort of the midpoint of uneasiness. There are a lot of reasons, a lot of reasons why you might start the day with a sense of unease. I know the first few minutes of most of my days are uneasy because it takes a little time to get oriented to what the task is for today and what's required of me today and what's coming over the horizon. Those first few moments of waking, you know, it's a little bit disorienting. And I think it's always an uneasy feeling until you get your legs under you. There are ways, sometimes we are anticipating things that make us uneasy. So hopefully that feeling becomes something that uh, works itself out through the day. And a lot of times, regardless of what you're anticipating, just getting an answer so that you have a clear next step can alleviate the uneasiness. Sometimes it's just the mere uncertainty of it all that, you know, that causes us to feel ill at ease. So I think right now the biggest thing I feel today is just a physical sensation in my arms from some moving some furniture yesterday. When I wasn't fighting or nothing. I know moving furniture is a euphemism for fighting and maybe some other things too, but I was like physically actually moving couches and pieces of furniture around. And even though I have a push-up regimen, it's heavy on the pushes, but not heavy on the pulls. So it's different muscles that you use. So I'm feeling the effect of having different muscles engaged. So I'm sitting with that right now and noticing kind of the tightness in my hands and stuff like that. So the physical is kind of the um, center of my feeling right now. And I would say I feel it at about a 7. Last night I felt it at about a 9. So, you go through that process of recovery after you've exerted yourself. Recovery is the best part. A lot of times we have to, that sense of feeling yourself being rebuilt after you've exerted yourself. When you rest, it's a different level of rest that you get from physical labor. Um, there's a different type of sleep that you get when you've exerted yourself physically. It kind of gets you out of your head a little bit because the reality of the thing in front of you that you're moving or the task that's in front of you that requires your focus. Um, yeah, there's something about physical exertion that draws your focus into the moment because pain is real, exertion is real, and you have to be aware of what you're doing unless you want to get hurt or something. So that's the center of my feeling at the moment. All right, so we've checked in on how we feel. We're going to get into a few other prompts for the rest of the session, and we're really going to be looking at or thinking about some prompts around identity And it's a very complicated thing that most of the time I don't have most of the stuff worked out when I get up here. And today, as my writing was sort of pondering a few things about identity, so I'm going to bring some prompts to stream into the conversation and see where things go. The first prompt that I want to cover is, what do I miss about the person I used to be? What do I miss about the person that I used to be? I think in a very real sense, we are still the person that we were. And in one sense, we are still the character from the beginning of the stream of consciousness that we have, that we remember all the way up until now. There is something that seems like it's still there. We still feel like that's us. There are other things that definitely show up later, and different things that, are unrecognizable as us that eventually become us. So if you look back, is there something that you miss about some previous version of yourself, some way that you were showing up, uh, something that you feel like you lost along the way? Uh, when we grow, a lot of times we have to shed parts of ourselves in order to grow. So Chandra says, that's so weird. I'm working on a poem about the me and who I once was. Yeah, I think it's something that we come back to a lot. I think especially creative people, sometimes we identify with what we put out, our output. And we sometimes judge ourselves by the quality of what we do. Chandra says, we are in our creative work. We are in it. It's a part of us. I think that's our hope. I think when we are being honest in the work that we do, some of us lies in it. Um, and if we are really listening to ourselves, then even more of ourselves lie in it. I think your fingerprint is going to be in it anyway, because even when you try to copy someone else, you really can't quite do it. Sometimes our attempts to conform and to fit in, they are failed attempts, because we are us and the person that did it is them. And our original voice lies sometimes in our failed attempts to be someone else. So it's kind of an unavoidable reality that part of us will lie in our work. And I think one of the great things about creating things, creating, um, making art, is it gives you sort of a different portrait of the person that you were when you made it. If you don't have those artifacts to dig through of your own creation, going back through your history and seeing what you made, those things tell you about who you were when you made it, what you were seeing in the world. I think that's one of the most powerful things about doing creative work. One of the values of doing it is in that you have this historical record, you have this archaeological record of the work that you did. So the thing that T Mizzle over on Instagram misses is the consistency. I miss that person who was consistent. One of the ways that we used to close out the conversation is, what's on your to-do list. We talk about, okay, what do you want to do today, or what do you intend to do today? And then another way we in it is, what is on your to-be list? How do you want to be? Become the type of person who does, then the doing gets easier. But it's a cycle, so you can influence the being by the doing. So, those things kind of feed each other. So for our next prompt, we're going to go to the next step in this process of considering ourselves, considering aspects of our identity. What excites me about the person I'm becoming? It's the second prompt. What excites me about the person I'm becoming? And this kind of gets into the idea that we've been talking about, momentum. We brought that up a few times over the course of the past few sessions. What excites me about the person that I'm becoming, it gives you an opportunity to look at the things that you're doing now. Look at the ways that you're growing now, the aspirations that you have for the future. What's exciting about that? Because yes, we can mourn parts of ourselves that we feel are behind us, and some things just need to be left behind anyway in order for us to function in the phase of life that we're in the moment. But we still have nostalgia. Sometimes we reminisce. That's why we reminisce. We go back and remember a time when we were a certain way, and but it would be unbecoming now. Sometimes it would be unbecoming for us to be that person that we were earlier. It wouldn't fly under your current circumstances. But we can look back and reminisce. That's one of the things that we do as we get older. We reminisce. But now we're going to look in the other direction. Look towards the future. Look at the accumulation of the different things that you're pursuing in the moment, the ways that you're growing. You are becoming something. It might be exciting to be becoming more wise. You might be becoming more patient as you gain more perspective on things. You might be becoming more mindful as you practice attention in the moment. There are a lot of ways of becoming. So consider something that you are cultivating, something that's in the garden, something that's growing that kind of excites you. It's springtime over here, so things are growing, things are renewing, and that can be an exciting time. So over on Instagram, we have a response that says the skills that I'm acquiring will open up some opportunities. So I'm excited about becoming skilled in a new area, knowing that, skills pay the bills. Sometimes it's fun to just know random things, but when you recognize that you're learning something for a purpose that is going to perhaps enhance your quality of life and give you a new opportunities, and that's a powerful thing to look forward to be excited about. So we want to be aware of how we change over time and accept the way that we are now and look forward to what we can be. So that's today's session. I really appreciate you for taking time with me. This has been session number 402, Morning Journal. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you so much.